There we go. Where's Mike? There you are. Did you know you were not on? And now you are. Here you are again. Almost. Okay, excellent. All right, so first I'd like to start with any examples that you'd like to share with redefine and or change frame that you thought were interesting, fun, useful, and effective, you'd like to share with the group. You're smiling.
I'm smiling because any examples now, I can't remember.
Oh, yeah, we were talking about how do you remember these later anyway? That's right. Well, and I'm the same way. Typically, when I'm doing language patterns, I'll remember some things about it, but don't ask me to quote it word for word. It's kind of gone.
Anne said that because I got on third place in the singing competition when I was 12, I cannot sing. So I said, wow, you are singing and in a competition, that would be great. Even
use the voice, Tamara, the way you did it before.
Yeah, wow, singing, I can sing, and singing in a competition with 400 people and be in the third place, that's something.
Excellent. Okay. So just to repeat for the people at home, so Anne was saying that because I was in a competition when I was 12 and only came in third place out of 400 people. You didn't mention that?
Yeah, since I came third place in singing competition means that I cannot sing.
Okay. Since I came in third place in a singing competition when I was 12, it means I cannot sing. And so, your name again is?
I asked her, you were singing in a competition, that would be a great thing. And even the third, I don't know what we said.
Yes.
But
really
in this context.
Into, wow.
So she really went for it and said something along the lines of, wow, you were singing in a competition when you were, something along those lines. And third place is fantastic. My goodness, I never accomplished that. Excellent. So that is an example of what? Redefining, exactly. And is she redefining A or B or A and B? So she's focusing mostly on A, singing in the competition at all means you can sing.
She was imagining and offering me this imagining of presenting this to 400 people or thousands of people.
Okay, so she brought in the 400 people that hadn't been in your representation that made it even more effective for you.
And
okay, great.
I said something to them. The sleight of mouth patterns are very confusing to me. I'm not going to use them in my training.
Okay, so because sleight of mouth is very confusing to me, I will not use it in my training. Okay.
And some of them, they said, wow, confusion, this is the door for, learning and understanding.
Confusion is the door for learning and understanding, which is true. Yeah. If we never got confused, then we'd just be stuck with all of our old understandings, wouldn't we? It's part of the learning process. Excellent. So which one is that? Great. Again, it's a very useful redefine, isn't it? Okay.
We also shifted your attention to the fact that because she's using these patterns unconsciously, so exquisitely unconsciously, that she's not yet aware of the categories that we're learning right now. And all she needs to do is to translate it into QAT, into a mother tongue, and recognize how exquisitely she can use it with her students.
Great. So you're expanding the frame from your conscious understanding to also include unconscious learning. And so then having done that, then that can cause being able to have access to the patterns later. Great. So expanding the frame then with regards to conscious and unconscious learning. Terrific. Okay, other examples you'd like to share? Or not? One more. Okay, great.
I stated because I'm native, I'm treated unequally. And so I think you said something like, because you are native, doesn't that mean that you are an individual and unique?
So it started out, because I'm native, I'm treated unequally, changed to, because you're a native, doesn't this make you an individual and unique? Or doesn't it mean you are an individual and unique? Right.
Change anything. Does it affect you?
Yes. So he has A causes not being treated equally.
Okay.
And so saying A means something else can change his experience of it. Even if people treat him the same, if he is perceiving himself as a unique individual, and that's an important thing, then that can make the other thing less important. I'm kind of reading a little bit into it here.
Your foot
So,
fitted?
yes.
One of the ones I used was that I hear frequently is I can't exercise. I don't have time, so I can't exercise.
I don't have time, so I can't exercise.
What we got
Okay.
to that was really the best thing for me was that the time is a value. And that was really good. And says, and so you value time, and then start talking about how you value yourself and your children and all that kind of, put all those values together. And it was really, I had a lot of impact on me. I hope it will on my members.
Excellent. So she started out with, I don't exercise because I don't have time. And they started out with, so time is one of your values. And in addition, your family is a value, and your health is a value, right, and et cetera. So what pattern is this? It changes the meaning. I would call it, though, more directly a change of frame. Changing the frame with respect to, oops. So he's getting his exercise. He's going to get more exercise real quick. Okay. So it's changing.
Maybe he needs food.
Maybe so. But right now he needs more exercise. So Heinrich's going to take care of that. He's up there. Okay. So in Barbara's example, starting with a value of time and then adding family and health, and was there more in addition? And
Well, I hope they'll get to themselves as a value, but
and valuing themselves. Okay, so but might as well throw it out there and see if it sticks at the very least. So adding family, health, valuing themselves, etc. So what are we doing to the frame here? Enlarging it to include more of what? Important values. You could call them criteria if you wanted. So, and using the word values is nice to use ordinary language as opposed to lingo, so to speak. So I like the word values there. So wonderful. And having expanded the frame with regards to all of those values, how does that affect your perception of exercise as you're trying on this belief?
well, it shakes up the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's now like exercise is a value. It opens up possibility.
Opens up the possibility that exercise is important,
Yes.
then, doesn't it? Okay, terrific. Okay, really wonderful examples you guys came up with. Now, next patterns. And again, I'm going to demonstrate the patterns a few times before we talk about what they are. So we're no longer on this, we're on the next thing. Actually, why don't I, just so you don't look over here and see these old patterns, I'm going to move this. There we go. Okay, so by the way, I included yours up here. I thought that was a nice one. since she had put it on the wall. Okay, so now to demonstrate these next patterns, somebody give me any limiting belief with an A and a B, and it can be one of these or one of your own, or one of somebody you knows, somebody that you know. Stress causes you to lose your hair. Okay, you know, and I think that what is causing all of this stress is being so concerned about your appearance. We got a few wisps of smoke coming out of the ears there. Okay. Okay, yes.
Because I'm so short, I can't.
Because I noticed that about you, Ron. Because you're so short, you can't enjoy life. You know, I think what really causes you to not enjoy life is putting off doing your finances all the time. So that's right. It works both ways sometimes, doesn't it? Okay, so another example, yes.
Yeah. Because I focus on short-term survival, I lose track of developing long-term abundant living.
Because you focus on short-term survival, I lose track of focusing on long-term abundant living. Now, you know, I think actually, Paul, what causes a diminishment of the long-term abundant living is just not including more with the short-term survival.
Yeah.
Stated in the negative. So I could come up with a better way probably to state it, but so
It's getting closer.
yeah, so possibly what diminishes your long-term abundance, or what would give you more long-term abundance, let's say it this way, is including your short-term survival needs as well as things that give you more sense of meaning in your life.
Right.
Okay, so by the way, feel free to do what I just did. If you say it the first time and you don't like how it came out, which I didn't, then just feel free to go right back and say it again. So that's totally fair game. All right, now, so are you starting to notice a pattern in the examples that I'm giving? Let's do another one. So Paul, you know, it's possible that what has caused you to have this belief has been perhaps a time in your life when you really had to focus a lot on survival. Okay? All right, so notice I am expanding the frame, and I'm doing so in a very specific way to include a very specific piece of information or type of information that I'm adding to the belief. Okay, yeah, without describing what it is though, let me demonstrate it again until you're starting to nod your heads and go, okay, I'm noticing the pattern. All right, so somebody else give me a belief.
I would like to eat healthier food, but it just tastes so terrible.
Okay, so healthy food tasting terrible prevents you from eating healthier food. Just to do it in a more clear A and B so that we can track it. Okay, so, you know, I'm wondering if what causes the healthy food to taste terrible is the way in which it's prepared. Possibly. Okay. And what can cause you, Jean, to eat healthy food is being even more in touch with your desire to take care of your physical being. Okay, now that, you know, I'm getting more agreement there. And I can say also, so Jean, possibly what causes you to have this belief is that you ate some really awful healthy food at some point. Okay, so I'm applying it to the A, the B, and the whole A and B. So are you starting to recognize the pattern now? Okay, yeah, without describing what it is. Now I'm just noticing are you recognizing the pattern so far? Now let me give you an example so that you can have a chance to demonstrate it back. So I can't make a difference around here in my company because management does not walk their talk. Yes?
I wonder if management doesn't walk their talk because they don't have the support they need from people like you and their other employees.
Excellent example. Excellent example. Yeah. And and she's doing she's applying the pattern to management not walking their talk. Now, which is actually A. In this example, what we're saying is conclusion because evidence. So B because A, or rather cause. So excellent example. And what she's doing there is she's going for what happened earlier that caused this. She's going for a prior cause of either A, B, or the whole thing. That's the pattern. Now, to give you an idea of how this can be effective, I'd like for you all to just imagine now that you are riding on a bus or train or some form of public transportation, and you're standing up and holding onto one of those poles or something that you have to hold on to in order to stay upright, right? And as you're standing here, it's kind of a crowded vehicle, you feel somebody nudging you from behind. And so you just kind of let that go. Then a little while later, it happens again. Somebody's bumping you. And then pretty soon, somebody's bumping you again. You might find yourself noticing your response to this. Now, imagine that you are turning around and discovering that behind you is a man who is holding a white cane. Does this change your response? Does it change what the whole situation means to you? Okay, there's an example where finding out what is the cause of the experience then changes what the experience means and how you respond to it. Okay, that's what we're going for with prior cause. An example from my life would be, in the past in particular, I at times have been kind of critical in thinking about my parents. Because believe it or not, my parents were not perfect. Of all the nerve. And of course, in particular, being a woman, it's easy for me to look at my mom. And of course, I recognize patterns of hers that I've learned too, and so they bother me in particular. And at the same time, as I've learned more about her upbringing and what happened, things that happened to her as a child that were just really horrendous compared to anything I had to deal with when I was a child. This gives me a greater sense of understanding and appreciation for how much better she's made my life than what her upbringing prepared her for in life. So there's another example for prior cause. Okay, now we're going to do a second pattern which has some similarity to prior cause, and yet it's a little different. So someone give me a belief. Could be the same exact ones we used last time or a different one. Because you have, because you have no hair, no one loves you, is what you're thinking? Oh. So I could say, well, since you have no hair, this allows you to expand your flexibility in attracting women. Or I can say, since you have no hair, you know that people aren't going to just love you for your hair. And I could also say, I think maybe I should leave it on that note. So this next one, just don't associate into it. It's going to be a fun one. But, well, since no one loves you, you have the chance to start over and make exactly the friends you want. So like I say, that might not be one to step into. We can kind of look at that one from the outside.
Yeah.
Okay, so thanks. Another belief. Another belief. Could be the same one as last time or a new one.
People only like me because I have lots of money.
People only like you because you have lots of money. Well, so having lots of money could help you be comfortable with the choice of living a modest lifestyle. Not really. So people liking you can give you then the opportunity for keeping those relationships while you expand on having new ones too. Okay? And you know, having this belief that people only like you because you have lots of money might stop you from really going out and making new friends in the way that you want. Okay, so there I'm going for, you know, possibly motivation in changing the belief if he's not already motivated to do so. Okay, so you notice how it's similar to the last one and yet different, right? Anybody starting, without naming it or describing it, anybody starting to sense what the pattern is and how it's different from last time? Okay, I see a few nods. One more belief from you.
Because I don't have a degree, I don't get the recognition as somebody else who does.
Because you don't have a degree, your belief is that causes you not to get the recognition of someone who does. So not having a degree, I'll bet, has allowed you to learn things by experience rather than it all being book learning. And I could say, you know, not having gotten recognition just from degrees and paper credentials has probably motivated you to work harder and learn more than some of the people who have degrees. Okay? So to A, to B, let's see if I can get an A and B here. So having this belief that, that you're somehow limited by not having a degree may limit your choices somehow in terms of not going for opportunities that you're already perfectly able to go for. So he's kind of having a so-so response to that one. And he's listening to the patterns at the same time, so that changes it. Right. Okay, but just looking at your response, calibrating, which looked most effective to you? A, B, or A and B? Doing B? Yeah, I would agree. B and then A would be a close second. A and B kind of fell flat. Okay, so now let me give you a belief and give you a chance to demonstrate the pattern back. How about, again, I can't make a difference around here because management doesn't walk their talk. How would you like to apply this pattern to this same belief that I gave you last time? I can't make a difference around here because management doesn't walk their talk.
Management doesn't walk their talk because you've refused to actually try to make a difference.
Contribute.
Okay, so he's saying management doesn't walk their talk because you've refused to make a difference. Now, in terms of time, what direction is he going? He's going to the past. So he's getting the prior cause, which is last time. Now, the new pattern goes a different direction in time. I'll give you that clue. So because management doesn't walk their talk, I can't make a difference around here. Yes?
Because management doesn't walk their talk, it's vitally important for everybody to pull together to make sure that the company is successful.
Okay, so he's saying management not walking their talk causes it to be even more important for everyone to pull together. Okay, so notice we're going in the opposite direction. We're going to the future, and we are coming up with consequences. So, and a key question here is what happens afterward as a result? So management not walking their, oops, don't look. Previews, oh well. So management not walking their talk gives you an opportunity to develop your skills of being congruent in an incongruent environment. So you can look at the A or the B or both and go, what does that cause? What's a consequence of that? You're not making a difference causes you to be limited in how far you will advance in the company. Be another, that now we're going for what is the cause, excuse me, the result of that. By holding this belief, so we're going for the whole A and B now.
By holding this belief that you can't make the difference, you're denying management the opportunity to change the way they do things.
You're denying management an opportunity to change the way they do things. So again, we go and walk their talk and all of that. So we're going, because you have this whole belief, this results in something out here. You're denying them this opportunity. Okay, so now the last pattern again is somewhat related to these two, and yet it's also a little different. Yes?
Could I try one just to get some feedback?
Sure.
Okay. So, because management does not walk their talk, can you think of the resources this opens for you to expand your capabilities?
Yes, that's definitely a member of this category. So because management doesn't walk their talk, this opens up or expands the opportunities for you to develop your capabilities. So you start with something that they said, and then you come up with a consequence for that. Excellent. Okay, now the next set of patterns. So somebody give me a belief, and we'll do something a little different with it. Stress causes your hair to fall out. Well, I'm wondering if your intent in creating for yourself a stressful lifestyle is wanting to maximize all of the potential experiences that you have in life. Yeah, so, right? Because I don't really know. Obviously, I'm just kind of guessing here. So your hair's intent in falling out is blah, 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 blah. That would be another way to go, which is kind of silly in this example, maybe. Now, your intent in having this belief might be to, what would you say? What would be an intent behind having this belief? Yes?
To live an easier, relaxed life.
To live an easier, relaxed life. Okay, she's nodding more to this one. So, Ron, you got a good one there. So, excellent. Now, this one, obviously, you've had before in NLP. Intent, what was intended. And, of course, it's perfectly fine to also just demonstrate it, just to ask her. So, Anne, what is your intent in having this belief? To find a way to grow more hair. Okay.
Noticing this is a way of.
Okay. So I could also say, and of course it's easier to ask for the intent than to supply one, because when I supply one, I'm really doing the quote mind reading pattern. So whenever I'm doing any kind of mind reading, I want to be cautious about it and notice the response. If I'm dealing with somebody who is very malleable, then I'm especially cautious. If I think that suggesting something is they're going to just take that on, even if it wasn't true to begin with. So, but sometimes it's useful to suggest a possibility to someone as a way to consider, oh, well, maybe there is an intent there. Doing it metaphorically can be a useful means of doing so. I knew someone who had a stressful life, and his intent in creating that was to have a full and rich life. So this time Anne is nodding. Whether she takes it on and says, oh, I recognize that in myself or not, it's not going to offend her by mind reading her incorrectly if I do it in the form of a metaphor. Okay, so, and again, with all of these patterns, we can go for A, B, A, and B. Would you like a visual representation of these patterns and how they relate to each other? Okay, it's really pretty simple, fortunately. So to start with, we have an event, and this event is an A equals B or an A causes B. And prior cause is what happened beforehand that caused that, caused either that or all of it. That's prior cause. Consequence is what happens afterwards as a result. So we're just going in the other direction with that. Now, what about intent? Where is intent in terms of time? Surrounds it. In what way?
Well, it's there with it. It's the underlying motivation for the whole thing.
It's an underlying motivation with it. The way that I think about it, and Ron, you're correct. What did you say? Present. It's there in the present. It's the way that I think about it is an intent is something that I have going into it. I intend it ahead of time. I have it along with it, and my intent for it is what do I want to happen as a result. I have an intended consequence. So that's my intended consequence. So for example, if my intent in creating a stressful life is to have a vast array of experiences, the vast array of experiences is the intended consequence. However, I go into it already intending it before it happens. Or if my intent in getting angry is to get something that I want, then my intent I have going into it and while I'm angry and getting what I want is the intended consequence, which may or may not happen, right? Oftentimes we intend for something to happen which does not occur. I could intend for something to make me safer, and it might not do so. Especially working with limiting beliefs. Very often, the intended consequence is not the same thing as what actually happens. So, so that's just a little distinction to be aware of there. Okay. So, I think you guys are ready for some hands-on experience with these. And so go ahead and go for it. Same exercise format. I'll leave this up here. I think that's a useful page. Groups of 3 again. And again, we'll take about 10 minutes or so. Enjoy.